Hi everyone! Welcome back to Maple Live. One step at a time is the theme of today's episode.
Yeah, we're very excited for this week, and here in Vermont it's a nice rainy day. We've been enjoying the rain here. We're excited for this week's content. Should we give a run through of what we're going to have this week?
Sure.
Give listeners an idea of what they have in mind, of what they're going to be seeing?
Okay.
Sure. So we have our regular clips, 10 seconds or less, with the question, what is love? We have an interview and a clip from Mitra, formerly known as Peter Park, from his pilgrimage experience. We have a practice tip of the week, which Kish will share. And we have a few picks of the week and upcoming events and things that we've done this past week. Is there anything else that I've missed that would be good for people to know?
There's gonna be fun!
Yes, lots of fun.
Okay, so as Dan mentioned, first we're going to go into the clip of the week, which was from this week's Sunday Sit, and it's Mitra reflecting on his pilgrimage, and specifically in the clip we'll be hearing about the first three of the Four Noble Truths.
In Buddhism, the first noble truth is suffering exists and you should realize that's true and real. A lot of people fault Buddhism for being pessimistic. Well, you gotta start there. But if you ever meet someone that's in deep suffering, that's a great relief. If I'm walking on the road and I'm having a hard time and someone says, you don't really have to suffer right now, why don't you just smile and feel better? That's not what I want to hear. I want to hear just pretend to be happy right now. And really, the second and third noble truths are extremely the most optimistic, most confident statements possible, that there is an actual cause we can find and that we can end. That it's possible to not suffer. It's possible to face our deepest fears, our deepest challenges, whatever they may be, not suffer, to not have resistance to what we may have spent our lifetime trying to avoid. And that very avoidance is the suffering that's causing the destruction of the whole planet.
Wow, what a clip. It's just a clip of the wisdom. Hopefully in this interview we'll get some more of that wisdom and learn a little bit more about Mitra's pilgrimage. And for those of you that don't know, last week Mitra did a walking pilgrimage from Maple Monastic Academy here in Lowell all the way to Burlington, which is about a 70-mile walk, which mostly happened on the highway. Is that right?
It was a mixture. Sometimes I could find a lucky bike trail and share the lane with bikers. But a lot of it was on the highway and having cars zoom past me at 60 miles an hour.
Mm. And in our times, that is not a common thing that people do.
Mm-hmm.
I know in Buddhist countries, especially in centuries past, this was more common.
Mm-hmm.
So could you maybe share with viewers on why you did this walking pilgrimage, where the intention came to do something like this came from?
Right. Yeah, this was a question I stress and hold that sacred. I was inspired partly by Peace Pilgrim. It was a wonderful American saint around the 19th, and might be walking on highways because they have to. And I wanted to be able to know what that's like and speak with some integrity of doing my micro, weak version of that. And also just sort of exerting myself and trying something different and new that challenged me physically and emotionally and would really throw me into this place of not knowing. So, a lot of different reasons.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And there are periods when you're walking. How many days was this pilgrimage?
I started on a Sunday, and I actually got to Burlington faster than I thought. I got to Burlington Thursday night.
Thursday night. And were there periods during the pilgrimage where you were unsure of your next destination? Where you were unsure where you were going to sleep or where you were going to go that afternoon? Were there some periods of uncertainty during your pilgrimage?
Yeah, certainly. I started the pilgrimage without any plans or didn't tell anyone along the way yet about what I was doing. And so part of me thought about just camping out each day, but ended up calling one or two people I knew along the way, and they luckily hosted me. So I spent about 2 nights staying with community members, and 2 nights I spent just in the woods. Found a random spot and just had a tarp and my sleeping pad, and those were nervous nights. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and I was never really sure what exactly the path I was going to take was, and different people actually advised me along the way of like, yeah, here's a trail you can take, and I was like, I heard there's a way you can take a kayak from Jeffersonville to Burlington, so I thought maybe I could do that, and then I realized there's no walking trail there, so I had to find some other ways.
And I'm curious, what was going through your mind during these periods of uncertainty? If you could share some experiences.
Honestly, the main one was, what am I doing? Where am I going? Should I be thinking about this right now? And then trying to let that go and just take the next step, whatever it was, and just be like, I know I need to walk at least another 3 hours, so that's fine. I don't need to think about this too much. I did have like GPS in my map, so I was like, I know for sure I have like 10 miles to go before I need to make any decisions, so I might as well just keep walking.
People experience when trying to decide what should I do next with my life, or what's the next step I'm going to take. So I'm curious, from now you're a few days after the pilgrimage, have any insights or realizations come to you during this period that might be inspirational or might serve as guidance for people that are trying to figure out what the next step might be in their life, or maybe how to more skillfully be in uncertainty?
Well, that's a great question. Well, I think one of the biggest things was, the truth is that none of us really know what the future is really going to hold, and planning and worry is useful to some extent, and then has negative returns. And so a lot of the trip was cultivating faith and trust that I don't need to figure everything out. There's certain things I need to figure out, like, it's starting to storm. Maybe I should find a way that this, as you said, is very unusual, but actually had a lot of benefits for me. And it was it's kind of easy and cheap. It didn't take that much to do. And so there's like a whole wide range of possibilities that people could probably do that don't fit in the field of what we think is normal. And so letting our minds sort of open up to the possibilities and not needing to plan and control everything, I think is really valuable for me, at least.
It sounded also like, through reaching out or through not having everything, you invited a lot of opportunities for kindness and generosity, and connection as well, which is beautiful. Yeah. Would you like to share any of that, any of the generosity or kindness that you experienced along the way?
Well, it was really nice that the 2 people I stayed with were extremely nice and generous, and I didn't spend a lot of time with them at all before. And I think, really, in my personal view, everyone deep down is really kind and generous. It's just that we live in a very untrustworthy culture that often feels like we're trying to take from each other. And so actually allowing ourselves to have that faith, to be vulnerable, to be impacted, to be in a position where I do need help, but I'm not expecting or demanding it, actually opens it up so that other people can be generous and caring in an authentic, caring way that doesn't feel put upon or coercive or something. And so I think I was blown away by the generosity I received, and I would like to think the people that were generous also benefited from that. And one of the Buddhist, as well as just general spiritual teachings, is that generosity, charity, giving is a virtue and is a gift. To be able to offer something to someone else is extremely beneficial for the giver as well as the receiver.
And yeah, we see you as a role model for the community setting out on this expedition, and just hearing this is very important. Yeah, you're very modest, very humble. Most people hear, like you mentioned, the violent or the viciousness of people, but just hearing an example, a lived example of somebody that has experienced generosity and kindness and has enabled it is, I think, important in our times.
Yeah, that's true.
And maybe the concluding question here is, after that experience, do you have the deep feeling or calling to do another pilgrimage in the future? And if you do it, are there things that you would do differently from your first experience?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would likely go longer and probably walk less each day. Or walk more with less gear. I'm not sure yet. And this time I had a plan of I was going to give a talk, as people listened to before. I was going to give a talk at Burlington at the end of the trip, so I kind of knew the direction I had to go in. I think next time I probably just not have any plan or outcome, and just I'm going to go in any direction my body wants to take me. And I learned some good gear things, you know. I would take a lighter bag. I also found that I was really shy about sharing what I was doing, and so I think one of the learnings and takeaways I'm doing personally is learning how to take on and embody what I think is really important that might not be normal, and be able to share that generously and not feel like I'm weirding someone out or something. So I wish I had talked more with more people.
Beautiful. And before we close, are there any final remarks that you'd like to share with viewers?
I would just suggest that everyone goes on a walk, even if it's for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me that despite the physical pain or confusion or anything, a lot of the time my body and mind just enjoyed being able to walk. Even when it was painful, it was still, there's like something deep down where humans are made to walk and roam and put away the phone, put away the headset, put away computers, and just go outside and walk somewhere. I think is really valuable.
Yeah, simple but profound. Go for a walk.
Go for a walk.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for your work and continued service to the world.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And on to the next clip. We have this week's 10 seconds or less segment. Last week we looked at what is wisdom, and this week we're going to look into what is love. Hey Joe, what is love in 10 seconds or less?
Love is spontaneous, unconditional joy.
I think love is the thing that makes us want to give up our lives to something beautiful.
Hey Mitra, what is love?
I don't know what it is, but it's everywhere.
Love is presence, attention, caring, awareness.
Hey Steven,
Yes, Dan.
what is love in 10 seconds or less?
Showing up, doing the right thing, even when it's hard.
Love is when you try your best to do the right thing, even when you don't know what is the right thing. Alright, thank you so much, Dan, and thank you again to Mitra for that amazing interview. Now for some Maple updates. This past Sunday, as you've heard, we had a Sunday sit, and Sunday sits are opportunities where we can connect with the community in Burlington and give Dharma talks and do guided meditations. And we haven't been able to have Sunday sits in around a year because of COVID. So this was really exciting to have Mitra talk at the end of his pilgrimage and also restart Sunday sits. And then afterwards, we also had a picnic at community members Tony and Carolyn's house. The second update is that the Vision Quest is starting this Saturday. Dan and I will be participating.
Yes.
How do you feel about that, Dan?
I feel excited, really excited. It's a change from the monastic schedule where we'll leave the Zendo and go out into the woods. So I'm really excited for the change of pace, and I think, it feels like a good time for me. Yeah.
So that'll be this Saturday, and then the third update is that the Zendo construction is ongoing. It's happening outside as we speak.
Probably hear it.
Yeah, you might be able to hear it. It seemed like just in the span of a day, all the walls and the roof support came up. So it's really starting to come together.
Yeah, and a quick question for those of the viewers that might be watching and don't know what the Vision Quest is.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to maybe share a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. So I don't know too much about it. I just found out that I'm attending a couple of days ago. But to say what I do know, it will be run by Darren Silver, who has worked with us in the past to run Vision Quests, and he's received training in Native American traditions, including Lakota, I believe. And the Vision Quest is a period where we go out into the woods, and I think the first couple of days we're together as a group and kind of just shedding traces of our normal lives, our lives in the monastery, and for guests coming, their lives at home, and tuning into nature. And then there's 4 days where we're out on our own and we're doing a food and water fast, and we're just praying to receive a vision. And then after those 4 days, we come back together to integrate what we've learned, share them with each other, and do a sweat lodge. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for,
I hope that helps. And there's also a Vision Quest in September, I think.
Right.
I'm not sure if there are any more tickets left, but you can always check or email us if you're interested.
Or find more info on Darren's website. If you just Google Darren Silver, I'm sure there'll be more info there.
Yeah. And now for the practice tip of the week. This is a tip that I received from Willow resident Vera Budra, which is that it can be easier actually to just do your technique 100%. Like sometimes you feel like it's easier to just like it a little bit, but when you do it 100%, it's easier to get into it and kind of keep the momentum going. But also on the other hand, if you are just doing it 20% for instance, just be aware that you're doing that, and you can see if that works or not.
And just to add one thing to that, I love what our teacher here, Soryu, tells us, and this is more maybe relevant to working responsibility period where you're actually cleaning or cooking or doing tasks. Do everything fully. Like focus on what you're doing and do it, like you said, 100%. That's been really helpful for me, doing each task fully, or as Mitra said, taking one step at a time. That's been useful.
And I think that relates to the theme of last week's episode of how to live without regrets. I often find that if I do things half-heartedly, then I don't feel totally good about it afterwards.
Right. Beautiful.
And now for some pictures from last week. We had a burn ceremony last week, kind of clearing away some of the trees that we had to cut down for the village, the Maple Village, and it was a really beautiful experience. Dan was tending one of the fires at one point. Yeah, did you have any takeaways?
Yeah, I think in the video I'm off screen, but you can probably still hear me. Yeah, it was beautiful. And I was one of the 6 people that stayed until the end. So a group of 6 for fire safety, a group of 6 of us, 2 at each fire, stayed until around midnight to make sure that
Which is late for us.
We're usually in bed 9:30, 10. So staying up till midnight was like a huge thing. But that was really special. Kind of meditating and bringing those embers to a close. So yeah, it was a really special ceremony for me. Yeah. And the process in the beginning as well, where we each shared things that, we're praying for or that we would like to purify in the fire. That also was really touching. So.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan. And in the picture we have future villagers, Mitra and Ananda. Ananda was a previous apprentice and Mitra is currently an apprentice, and it's just really amazing to have them there, kind of seeing the land being cleared. And then the second picture is Mitra at the start of his pilgrimage when we were all sending him off. I thought this was just a really nice picture, and you have heard all about Mitra's pilgrimage at this point, so I won't speak any more about that. And then the third picture, after the Sunday sit, as I mentioned, we had a picnic at Tony and Carolyn's house, and this is a picture of Kama and Nathan kind of at the table with all the food, posing for the camera. I thought this was a really cute picture and I wanted to include it.
Great. And now for our upcoming events, continuing the Chautauqua tour moves on, and they'll actually be here this week at Maple doing some workshops for us. But on August 21st from 6 to 8 p.m., the Chautauqua tour will be in Burlington doing a transformational sound bath, which is sound healing with ancient instruments, along with, I believe, massage and different elements. From August 27th to September 1st, there'll be another event in Williamsburg, Massachusetts, called the Spirit Alley Immersion. And I think that's more sharing of the ecology of practices, meditation, chanting, more transformational sound baths, and different practices which include massage and tea drinking ceremonies. And last course will start. This is the 4th cohort. There are still spots available. This is an online course where participants will be introduced to meditation, circling, bioemotive, peer coaching, and all sorts of different tools that they can use to apply to their lives, and do so in community with a group. So you're not just learning these things alone. And you can find more information on the Maple Monastic Academy website, and that will be a 6-week course led by our very own resident Joe Pucci. And thank you so much for being with us and for watching this Maple Live. Just an update, next week we will not have an episode because Kish and I will be in the woods during the Vision Quest. So hopefully the following episode will come back with some insights or some funny stories at least to share about our experiences during the Vision Quest. Hopefully, come on. Would you like to say anything else before we conclude?
Just please pray for me that I don't get Lyme disease.
Come on. All right, keep Kish in your thoughts. And thank you for being with us. See you in a couple of weeks.
See ya.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye.